Good evening and welcome, everyone. I'm so honored to get to introduce tonight's program, the world premiere of Kinematic, Kinesthetic by Access Dance Company and Ben Levine. My name is Sam, and I'm the program director of public programs here at the Exploratorium. And as we're getting settled and finding our seats, I'd like to invite you all to reflect for just one moment. Reflect on what allowed you to be here tonight. What people, what technologies, what conditions allowed for you to be here with us now? In that spirit, the Exploratorium acknowledges that the land and waters we sit on are here because of tens of thousands of years of stewardship from indigenous populations, including the Ramaytush Ohlone. And it's with gratitude to these indigenous stewards, both past and present, that we commit to also continuing to care for our environment for generations to come. Thank you for being here and being a part of that. So this performance, this stage, started as a conversation just over 2 years ago between Access Dance Company, Artistic Director Nadia Dame, and Executive Director Danae Rees, who had funding from the Hewlett Foundation via the Hewlett 50 Arts Commission, and the vision of multidisciplinary artist Ben Levine. They boldly came and asked the question, what if? What if this performance happened outside of a traditional theater space? The proposed program as themes of technology, adaptability, innovation, and curiosity. Curiosity for how our bodies interact with the world. Curiosity about how our relationship to technology might change in the future. And curiosity, as many of you know, is the currency of the Exploratorium. So it was with mutual admiration that we embarked on planning this co-presentation of Kinematic, Kinesthetic. And I'm so thrilled to see it come to life tonight with all of you. Situating the stage in the middle of our gallery is an odd choice, but amongst all of our interactive exhibits, we have the chance to see the resonance between the exhibits and the moving bodies on stage, amongst the raw architecture reflecting the themes of structure, integrity, physics, and geometry seen in the dancers and their devices. As well, in this palace of innovation, we can also reflect on the process of progress, that everything is in transition, that we try and fail and try again together to make a world that we all want to live in. And the process is never done. Before we continue, I want to make sure that you all are aware of the accessibility booth behind the seats here in the gallery. If you have any access needs that haven't been addressed yet, we please encourage you to go say hi to the friendly staff there and get you situated for the best experience you can have tonight. And finally, I'd like to share my excitement for the mix of audience we have here. Another pleasure of doing programs here at the Exploratorium is that everyone comes with their own curiosity. And whether you're a fan of Access or a fan of the Exploratorium, I'm sure you'll find something new and delightful in your experience here tonight. And as you can imagine, this work was created with the help of many, many people, many of whom you can find in the programs on your seat, and the digital programs you'll find in QR codes around. I encourage you to check that out. But I'd like to call out once more the financial support of the Hewlett Foundation, the generosity of Omeo Technology for the use of a high-performance electric wheelchair that you'll see here on stage tonight as part of the performance, as well as the Oregon Cultural Trust, Oregon Arts Commission, and Oregon Community Foundation, which supported the incredible taiko performance to be here tonight with us in San Francisco. So this performance is about 20 minutes long, and as mentioned, there's some recorded music and very loud taiko drumming that will happen during it. When needed, you can find restrooms both in adjacent galleries to the left and to the right of the stage. But I encourage you to stay. After the performance, I will be joined on stage for a talkback with Ben, Danae, and one of the dancers. We'll have time for you to ask questions as well. So once again, thank you for being here. And without further ado, we present to you Kinematic, Kinesthetic. Thank you. Thank you so much. What an amazing performance. On stage with me now is Ben Levine, Nadia Dame, and one of our dancers, Anna, and I missed your last name, I apologize. Let's hear it once more for the whole production crew and everyone who made this happen. So, as I mentioned, this is a work in progress for over 2 years. I don't even know when it started for you, but it's such a thrill to see it all come together with all the hands. And I know that there's probably lots of questions out there and so much more to say about this piece. I do want to selfishly say congratulations again on the incredible press that this work has gotten. We're very excited about the recognition that it's getting, and again, to be a premier site for this. But Ben, I talked about curiosity in the introduction as a way of seeing the world and moving through and asking questions. So my question for you is, what curiosities were in your mind or questions that compelled you to propose a piece, questions that could only be answered on a stage such as this?
Yeah, thanks. So I was wondering about the relationship between the disabled body and the machine. I was born with Erb's palsy, and I grew up with, I was trying to think back, probably at least a dozen different like splints and various assistive devices, as well as like a whole host of different things that I was given by occupational therapists over the years. And I was thinking about how people with disabilities have a unique relationship with technology, how I personally feel like I was shaped into the artist and technologist that I am by the devices that I grew up with. And then I was also thinking about invention and innovation. In the contemporary dance world, we use the term movement invention, and I've always thought that was sort of like a silly term, because really, what movement are we inventing? Humans have been around for a very long time. We have done all of the movements that humans can do. We have done all of the art that humans can do, question mark. And so I was thinking about, really, what does it mean to create something new, to create a new artistic work? And I've heard people say, you know, there's nothing new, there's no way to know that what you're doing is in fact innovative and has never been done before. But how I've answered that with my artistic practice is by using new technology, because technological innovation follows a very linear path, right? Like the iPhone 1 leads to the iPhone 2, leads to the iPhone 3. We can follow this in a very direct kind of way. But artistic growth is so circuitous, and I've been working in the field for about 20 years, and I can't really point from point A to point B and say, like, this is the artistic growth, right? But I know that if I'm using new technology to make art, that I can say that if I'm making a piece with the iPhone 27, that no one else has ever made art with the iPhone 27, and it is, in fact, innovative and new.
Thank you. And Nadia, again, thinking about the Exploratorium as a place that learning happens, of the journey from the beginning of this to now, I'm curious if you could speak to what you learned through this process and, where your vision helped support Ben's vision and choreographing the dancers and making the machines come alive.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thank you. I have to say thank you to the Exploratorium, because they have done so much work with us for this piece, for accessibility, to incorporate all of that here. So I have to say thank you, Sam and Sylvia and the entire team. You're rock stars. And now back to the question. Yes. I think for me as a choreographer and a mover, we gather all the dancers together, and I thought, let's see what we can do. And then I thought, no, that's too limited. And then I say, okay, let's deconstruct everything that we think we can do. So we went from the point of view of using the devices as they were to break them apart and pull them apart and figure out how can also our movement be deconstructed and turn around and have a different perspective or point of view. So we started, I started telling the dancers move like animals. I don't know if you recognized at the beginning, Anna comes through here, like has a very grounded and animal-like movement. And I'm like, okay, so we're deconstructing the movement going back, millions and millions of years. And how can we evolve that? And then I thought about what is the history, the story of this piece. And from that deconstruction, I kind of went technologically from something like the crutches up there that we have to help move. In order for them to help us, we have to help them first. So it was that idea of technology can be used, but sometimes it cannot be used unless the human is there. When you turn your phone and it's not turning on and you're like, oh, technology, it works until it doesn't, right? So this is the same idea that I put through the story of the piece, deconstructing and reconstructing technology, but also the movement and the body.
Thank you. And Anna, you were challenged by Nadia to be inventive with your movement, interact with devices that may have been unfamiliar to you. How has your relationship or appreciation for technology such as this changed over the process of working and performing this piece?
I need a minute. I think that at first when we started working with we actually first got Susan, and Susan was a really slow, like, robo dog. Oh, good? Cool. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna. Yeah, we started with the robo dog. Is this good? Cool. We started with the robo dog, and the dog was super slow, and we were like, hey, maybe we can approach this like it's a table, and we just started doing more contact improv things with it, and so just sort of what Nadia was saying, it was kind of this relationship of not only does the technology be supposed to enhance us, but we are, as humans, also enhancing the technology and making the technology function. And so the biggest takeaway is kind of no matter what, like if it's a machine, if it's like crutch, if it's a really cool Omeo thing that's like actually transforming how you move through the space, what matters is that there's a relationship between both machine and human, and they have to kind of work side by side in order to be functional. One kind of disappears and there's just a lot of clumsiness, and I think that's like one of my biggest takeaways. And you might have even seen it in the show, like when our crutch broke. And that's like real-time problem solving, and that happens all the time with technology. Like something just, without you realizing in the moment, it just breaks, and you're like, oh shit, now I have to do this thing differently now. I think it just highlighted more so that just how real that problem is. It's not even a problem, but that's just a disabled way of living. It's always, always, always adapting to the unexpected.
Thank you so much. Before we turn to questions from you all, again, I want to acknowledge that this is the beginning, the birth of this project here on this stage, and there's future opportunities for you to see it with your friends, tell about it. Not only will it be here on Saturday as well, at noon and 3 p.m., but Nadia, would you like to talk about the piece at Stanford?
Yeah, we're going to present it at Stanford Live on May 21st. It starts at 7:30, and it's gonna be that show. We're sad because we're not gonna have the taiko players here, who I also have to thank because they came all the way from Oregon just to do these. And yesterday was the first day we rehearsed with them, so it was a bit nerve-wracking. But the Stand for Life will be May 21st, and we'll have a show with Katie Kwan, who also is in residency here. She'll have her robots, which is very different to ours. She has a few $1 million that we don't. So, technology also needs money and time to evolve. So we'll be there too. So we'd love to see you either here on Saturday or there on the 21st.
So my colleague Sylvia will bring the mic. If any of you have questions, please raise your hand and make yourself visible, and Sylvia will bring the microphone to you to ask questions of our panelists.
Should I get up on stage? That way everybody can see me so I can sign in front of the audience. Is that okay? Yes? Great. The performance. One thing I noticed again and again in repetition during the performance was seeing how everything fit together as an extension of the body. I was really considering, just from your experience, from your perspective, how did this performance change how you envision that concept of connecting, having that rapport with the equipment, with the devices?
Yeah. Thank you. I guess the choreographer, I'll answer that one. But you can also, yes, for me, because I'm a crutch user and sometimes I use a wheelchair, I feel that they are an extension of me. And one of the rules I always have for the dancers is that you cannot just use it and arrange yourself and then do it. You have to make it meaningful. So if you're getting up from the chair, you have to, I know you need it or I need it, but I use it in an artistic way instead of fidgeting and putting myself in the place. So I challenge them quite a bit on saying, how do you use it as the extension, like you're saying, of your own body or your own movement? Not necessarily your body, but sometimes your movement. So if you use it to lean, you use it to get farther with it. Yeah.
I think the most I felt that was with the Omeo chair, especially since I was on top of Julie. And the way the Omeo works is it calculates the person who's sitting on it, their weight. And so the way that they move their weight and their spine directs where the chair goes. So when I was on the chair, it became this really interesting experience where now it wasn't just Julie becoming one with the chair, but I had to become one with Julie and the chair. And that was a really kind of cool new process for that, yeah.
Is there another question?
Back there, sorry, behind the column.
Hi, I really liked the emphasis on weight sharing and connection and support between the dancers, and I was just wondering what the ideas behind that were and where that came from, and just anything you have to say about that.
I'm from Spain. I'm not from here. And so physical touch is a big thing for us. I'm always oh. And I think weight bearing for me is very important because I have to do it every day, all the time, in order just to walk forward or move to a different position. So the way I control my body is very much like that. Either I put the weight on the crutch, or when I get up, I put the weight on a chair, or it's always like that for me. And so I think I bring it into my artistic ideas. And I think as humans, I love when we lean into each other and we are, always respectful, but leaning into each other and using that way to really pull apart, but also coming in, just like what they're doing with the crutches. They pull apart, but they still use it to give momentum. So humans, we should be doing that to create a good society. I think sometimes it's like, oh, it's just me, it's about me, and it shouldn't be like that. So I think coming from that, personally, I just included unconsciously into what I do with movements. Anna has worked with me for a few years now, so I don't know if she wants to answer anything else about weight sharing and like pulling.
Yeah, I think I will. Okay, so weight sharing is actually such like one of the fundamental elements of dance. Like you have weight, you have energy, you have space, you have time. So you're naturally going to see weight happening. And especially with these devices, like we named the robo-dog Susan, by the way, this like machine back in the corner and the crutches back there, the crutches. But they don't really function unless they have weight on them. And so we're a dance company, and part of the creative process and problem solving is how can we highlight, relatively simple movement like a push and make that more artistic and exciting. And that's part of the creative process. It's like you take these elements and you really expand on them. And also during this process, the way Nadia designed it is all the dancers, we had a moment where we were really collaborative. We were really encouraged to work with each other to develop things that naturally arose. So it wasn't just Nadia being like, here is the choreography. It was all of the dancers working together with all of our individual, dance histories and backgrounds coming to the forefront and being like, this is what interests me. How can we bring our ways of moving, and all of us move so differently, and meet together and then meet these new items as well. And so, yeah, things don't move unless they have a little push or weight. Cool.
We have time for one more. Okay.
Hello. I'm curious to hear more about the design process of the devices and Susan the robo-dog, and the interplay between the design of the devices and the dance and choreography, and how that might have gone back and forth. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So I've been doing an interview process of people with disabilities. Well, I guess I should say that I started with thinking about my own body and imagining a device for my own body. I wore this, it's called a Statue of Liberty splint, where my arm was like cranked above my head for a few months after I had shoulder surgery. And so I was imagining this, like, I don't know, maybe 10-foot long version of that. Then I proceeded to talk to other people with disabilities, especially artists and dancers with disabilities, about their relationship between their body and machines, assistive devices, what the relationship is between their assistive devices and their artistic practice, to come up with, I had 4 preliminary concepts total. And then I started pitching collaborations with university departments, and have built a really incredible relationship with the Robotics Institute at Carnegie Mellon. That's who made the hexapod, the 6-legged robot, upstage. I then worked with students from University of Maryland on the crutches. About the crutches, I had drawn up something that looks totally different from what you see, and it was like sort of more of a traditional like piston, I don't know, like a singular crutch shape, and through collaboration with the mechanical engineering students there, we came up with this scissor lift style, we call it. And so we've gone through a couple of rounds of prototyping with the hexapod and 1 round with the crutches. And each time we've had the dancers test them, and we've learned about that. Actually, even within the crutches, there's like many variations in all of the crutches that are on stage because we've made small improvements. Our plan was to only include 4, but then this is so typical dance. Once you have something, you can't take it away. So we have like all of the versions of it as it's grown over the last few months.
Great, thank you. Another question? Do we have time for another? Okay, we have time for another question.
This is the first performance I have seen you do, and I am curious how this is different from what you typically do, and also whether this is a one-off kind of thing, or whether you're planning to continue using a more technological approach.
Is that for the Exploratorium? That question?
No, for access.
Oh, for us.
I think that we each will have very different answers to this. You want to answer from Axis?
Yeah, from Access point of view, I learned this is the 3rd time that the company has been here working with the Exploratorium throughout the years. The company is 38 years old now. We're based in Berkeley, so just across, and this is the 3rd time we've been here performing different things. And yeah, we're coming back on Saturday, and I think we are creating a great relationship with the Exploratorium to continue bringing more collaborations together for the future. I hope so. I'm not going to put Sam on the spot, but I hope so.
I hope so too.
And I can answer from my perspective. So I started a company which is called Extreme Lengths Productions, that focuses on technology-driven movement-based performance. So what you saw here is very typical of what I do in my artistic practice. I think it presents a very different way of working with Axis. I've now worked with Axis in different capacities for a long while, but had the pleasure of having a work commissioned by them a few years ago, and it was actually my first time working more in a traditional kind of way, making a proscenium work, at least since college. But yeah, I plan to, in embarking on this work with Axis, I have found out that I have accidentally begun something that could become my life's work. And so I think that I'll be working on this for at least another 10 years, this particular line of research. And then I have to figure out how I can simultaneously work on other shorter-term projects.
I think it'd be really cool if we got the hydro backpacks and all could do a piece where we were flying across stage.
We wanted that one. Yeah, we wanted that one, but we didn't get it. We were sad.
And I think I have one final question. This performance is kind of bookending other interests that the Exploratorium is embarking on. This summer, our exhibition that will open on June 12th and run through September 14th is all about artificial intelligence. We're calling it Adventures in AI. And we've really challenged ourselves to take an Exploratorium-style look at the phenomena of the technology, but also its social implications and everything else. And I'm curious if any of you have thought about this newer, more very powerful technology, how that might be integrated in future performance, or where it benefits or where it challenges disabled community, and things that you might encourage people to think about as, again, this very emergent, powerful technology is coming into our being.
It's going to get real here for a sec. Okay, so we just had this article come out in the New York Times about this piece, an incredible, incredible thing like Sam mentioned. This happening in the same week that our funding for the work was withdrawn from the National Endowment for the Arts. So an incredible blow. And interestingly, I just submitted today a letter of appeal for the withdrawing, and I had to say that this work would incorporate AI because that is one of the only funding priorities. It was that or Make America Healthy Again that I had to fit this piece into. So I just wrote a bunch of BS about answering your question. Thank you. And I mean, I work in all sorts of technology. I love to dabble in like so many different media. So there is a natural fit here. I'm not 100% sure what it will be, but don't tell the people, the AI that will review my application. Don't tell them that.
Well, thank you again so much. As I mentioned, we encourage you to come back, tell your friends about it, and if this is your first time at the Exploratorium, consider coming back again. There's a lot of museum to explore, and we do have really value-driven membership packages, especially for our Thursday nights, our After Dark. So come visit us again. Please continue to support Access Dance and all the arts organizations that are now without funding. We are all in this together. And now is the time that I want to give big gratitude to everyone behind the scenes, the side of the stage here, the public program staff, AV, Frontline, and everybody at the Exploratorium who helped make this happen. So let's please acknowledge everyone's work and these amazing performers on stage.